he does in the back. He's a lunatic. You know what he told me right before he came out? He goes, "Have a good time, 9/11." And then he just left. That was the last words I heard. 9/11. And then I got hey! It's one of my favorite human beings, man. It's so good to be out here. I love coming to Irvine. You and your big dumb mall. I love it. Big dumb mall. Everywhere else, the malls are going out of business. Here, it's thriving. Because you guys all make six figures. You guys all just bring your everyone in here. Look at all of you. Everyone. Good posture, good teeth, good bones. Health insurance. I see it on all of you. Solid posture. You guys look like if Instagram filter had sex with the TikTok filter. That is the people of Irvine. You guys look like you're all conceived in a Tesla. That's who you guys are. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be ashamed of making six figures. That is great. Keeps the riffraff out, you know? This mall is intimidating to come into. It's the only mall I know with a valet. By the way, I love the people that aren't laughing right now. They're like, what is the matter with valet? At the shopping mall, what am I supposed to do? Park on the 5th floor of a parking structure and take a picture of the floor and aisle that I parked on? And then save enough battery so I can get back to my vehicle? Or am I gonna get a valet? I'm not picking on you, but it's good to be here, man. It's nice. I love it, man. It's a good vibe up here. We're living life. We're doing it. Doesn't it feel like it's almost over? Doesn't it? It feels like life, the world. I mean, it's close, doesn't it? Global warming, there's a drought, there's still a virus lingering around. Earth feels like a restaurant that's trying to close and humanity's that last table in the corner that just isn't getting the hint. Why is everyone vacuuming? Why are the house lights on? I think it might be over. COVID's still around, but we don't care, which is great, and I'm all for it. I think COVID was like America's stepdad. I think that's what it was. I don't know what your family life was, but I had a couple stepdads growing up. COVID reminded me of the stepdad. He comes in, makes a bunch of rules that weren't there before. He doesn't want to see your face. If he has to, he wants it to be 6 feet away. So he prefers it, you know? But now COVID is like that stepdad that's slowly breaking up with your mom. Where you're like, he's still around, but you know you don't have to listen to him, you know? Mom's already on Tinder, you got nothing on her now. So it's good, man. I love it. I love being here. I'm 35 years old. That's what I am. Yeah, I'm 35, and I just realized it's been me all along. That's what I've learned. I think that's what you learn at 35. In your 20s, you don't know what's going on, and then when I hit 30, I'm like, I gotta cut some of these toxic people out of my life. And then I hit 35, and I was like, oh, it was me? It was me the entire time? Damn it! I thought it was David. I haven't talked to David in 5 years. And I learned it was me. That's a bummer to find out it was you, man. That's what it's like. I go to therapy. That's what I do. I go to therapy. The journey of self-discovery. You know what you never self-discover? Anything good. No one's ever gone to therapy and then they came home, they're like, I'm great at math. I think I'm gonna go be an engineer now. I had no idea, but all those numbers in my head, I invented something. I was trying to think of something, and nothing came up. That's what that pause was. But yeah, I started going to therapy when I made the realization that this is what I'm doing right now. This is how I feel comfortable sharing my thoughts and feelings. This is how I prefer to do it. I prefer to be elevated and illuminated and amplified. And I like it to be frowned upon for you to interrupt me. That's what I learned. And once I learned that, I'm like, I gotta run this by somebody. Because that can't be healthy, right? That sounds like the makings of a narcissist. So I started going to therapy, you know. I like going to therapy. It's weird, like I don't have health insurance, but I go see a brain doctor. You know, my mind's taking care of my body. I just got an Apple Watch. That's what I got. It has a heart rate monitor, and I click on that, I'm like, yeah, we're still kicking. All right, we're doing just fine, you know? But I go to therapy, and I try to mix in some medical questions during therapy. Because she's the closest I have to a physician, you know? I know she's not an official doctor, but she might have met one in college. So I just try to mix in some medical questions, like, sometimes when I urinate, my left testicle hurts, and she's like, how do you feel about that? Insecure, I think that's how I'd label that feeling. Self-conscious, I don't know. I always think I have some other thing that I don't actually have. Like I asked her if I have schizophrenia, and she's like, I don't think so. She's like, why do you think you have schizophrenia? And I'm like, sometimes there's a voice in my head. And she's like, oh yeah? Who is it? And I'm like, it's me. She's like, that's perfectly fine. What do you guys talk about? Jokes, mainly. Mainly just running bits. And she's like, it's perfectly fine. And it made me wonder, I wonder if there's like a positive schizophrenia. You ever wondered that? You only hear about the negative schizophrenia. What if there was a positive schizophrenia? How great would that be? You're just walking down the street and a voice you don't recognize is like, hey, you're doing great. Hey, I'm not getting medication for that one. Or hold on to that one. Who couldn't use that little pep talk every once in a while? I like it. I like going to therapy. We talk about all sorts of things. We talk about depression. I think there's different levels of depression. I have what I like to call a healthy level of depression. You know, just enough to keep me humble and likable. You know, just a regular guy. You ever meet someone who could use a little depression? You know what I mean? Those obnoxiously positive people. Like, every day's an opportunity. And they're like, he could use a dash. He could use a pinch of depression. He could use a little dry rub of depression, you know. Nothing major. He could use a parking ticket on a rainy day. Just something to bring him down. I have a healthy level of depression. Like, I would never kill myself, but I would like to die naturally soon. I think that's just being human. Like, I would never do it, but can we pick a day? Tell me where to be, you know? I feel like some of you get it, some of you don't. Like, I get it, Irvine's a happy place. You're like, what? Here's another example. Like, if I'm on a plane and it's going down, I'll scream, but I'm not going to be the loudest. You know what I mean? I'll scream loud enough so no one around me gets suspicious about the reason it's going down. I'm not going to be dramatic about it. I'll give it a healthy, we're all taking it down. That's where it's at, man. Working on it, working on being better. I don't know. I was just always taught to keep my thoughts and feelings inside. That's what I'm trying to work on now, is to share my thoughts and feelings off stage. For some reason, up here, I'll tell you about my life. You know where I'm uncomfortable? Everywhere else. Like if I'm walking down the aisle of a grocery store and someone walks at me and we have to do this thing for half a second, I'd rather be lit on fire, alright? I'd rather do this than have to do that ever. It's just uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm trying to get comfortable sharing my feelings off stage. Because I was raised that your thoughts and feelings are meant to be kept in your heart. Don't let them out. Because what happens if you let them out? Next thing you know, you're storming the Capitol. That was someone's in here idea. And it slipped out. before he could catch it, there's already a guy dressed like a yak next to him. I think we gotta go through with it now. Oh, someone's in here idea. That was my favorite guy at the Capitol riot. I don't know if your guys' favorites were. My favorite was the guy who's dressed up like a water buffalo. I just imagine him showing up to the rally and just looking around and going, I misread that email. All right. Well, I can't change now. Everyone's already seen me in it. Take the head off and have fuzzy pants on. That'd be ridiculous. I gotta ride this day out. You guys are good, man. Learned so much about myself. Found out I'm hyper aware. I didn't know what that was. You know, I found out I have anxiety too. I didn't know I had anxiety. I thought I was just a good person. You ever confuse good person with anxious? That's what I found out. I thought I was a good person. No, anxiety. I found that out of therapy because she asked me, she's like, what goes on in your head in like a social situation? I was like, all right, like if I'm on a plane and we've landed and it's deboarding, I count the rows. And in my head, I'm like, all right, when that lady gets up, I'm gonna spring up, get that bag, then I'm gonna get this bag, don't forget the camera's under there. And at that point, my fiance Emma goes, is everything okay? Are you all right? And I'm like, shut up, are you ready? You need to be ready. And she's like, what's wrong right now? I'm like, it's our turn, let's go, we gotta go. She said, I don't wanna take half an extra second getting my bag down. She said, maybe someone behind me is gonna punch me in the back of the head. Because that's who I am. If you're in front of me on a plane and we're getting off and you're like, is my bag over there or over there? I'm like, we get to kill him, right? Like, we get to end him right here. But I found out that's not being a good person. I thought I was being polite, but it just turns out that someone yelled at me when I was 4 when they should have hugged me. Somehow 30 years later that manifested into, we gotta go! That's what you break down. Hyper-aware too, I learned that. Hyper-aware. It means I'm always aware of what's going on. You know, like I saw you yawning a couple minutes ago. I didn't want to say anything. I was in the middle of something else, but my brain noticed it. I'm like, all right, you're boring her. Step it up, Zoltan. You're being 5 hours. No, it's okay. I'm sure everyone has a reason. You're not wrong for yawning. I'm wrong for noticing. There's a room full of people laughing. I'm like, she yawned. You gotta step it up, man. You're failing your crowd right now. You gotta step it up a notch. It's not your fault. But yeah, I'm hyper aware. And I'm trying to be more open about it. I'm trying to fill my fiance in on what goes on in my head in a given situation. Like I remember we were on a walk in our neighborhood and we were about to cross the street diagonally. And then I looked and there's a woman walking her dog on the same side and I did the geometry of our movements. And I'm like, by the time we get across the street, we're just gonna be next to her. While she's walking her dog, we're just gonna be awkwardly next to her. So in the middle of the street, I called an audible. I'm like, we're going that way. And as we were walking that way, I realized we're headed straight towards the front of a cafe where there's 2 dudes sitting just having lunch. And I'm like, I looked at that, I'm like, we're just gonna end up right in front of them. Like, what happens? We're gonna be right there. What if they look up? I gotta say something. And I'm just gonna look at them and go, the weather. And Emma saw my eyes darting around, probably saw numbers flowing out of my ears. And she's like, what's going on right now? And like an idiot, I told her. She goes, oh my God, you're a lunatic. And you don't think of these things? And she's like, never. Dang. So yeah, I'm working on it though, you know, into therapy. If you guys have never been to therapy, when you first go, the first thing they tell you is, hey, whatever you say in this room stays in this room. And I remember hearing that going, not if I was the therapist. Like, how do you listen to all that juicy gossip and go home to your family and go, it's client privilege. I How do you do that? You listen to all that's better than 90 Day Fiancé. Yeah, let a little of that out, yeah. Like my therapist knows I'm a comedian. I have a bunch of videos online. She's never had a bottle of wine at home with her husband, pulled up one of my videos and like, hey, you want to know the backstory to this joke? Huh? A little director's cut to this little thing. You know? I wouldn't even blame her if she did. I think it's the right thing to do. It's called being human.